The Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on Facebook at Crazon Dion.
Hey everybody, this is Lunell, the original bad girl of comedy. I'm here at the Link Promenade in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and you're watching The Film Review.
What's going on, people? This is another great episode of The Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And do we have another great show for you today? We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy Dee.
I'm Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And we have a jam-packed show. Listen, we have a new R&B artist, Elyscia. We're going to be talking to her. She's the interview for tonight, right? We also are going to be talking about something that one of our fans, one of our viewers asked us to review. I Got the Hook Up Too by Master P and Romeo Miller. Right. Of course, we got Knives Out, 21 Bridges. And we have the top 5 reasons why, unfortunately, it looks like Trump will get reelected. The top 5 reasons. And we're sounding the alarm now so that we can see some change, right? So how's your week been so far?
Great week. I was happy to read about Diddy's letter to Comcast. So that was great. That's
right. Diddy finally spoke up.
Yes.
You know, because we here at the Film Review had called for the boycott of Comcast. Right? For them going to the Supreme Court to gut the 1866 Civil Rights Act. Right? Which granted us freedoms, including being able to have a fair contracting, being able to move as black citizens in the United States like white citizens move, and etc. Within Section 1981. So P. Diddy came out and actually spoke on it, right? And that's why the boycott, you know, I'm calling for it. And, you know, people can read that on Crazon Dion page, also on LordlandFilms.com page on Facebook. You can read about the boycott, right?
And 50 had his protesters there too.
And we can't really get into, I mean, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, right? But
and I have a cold, so
and you know, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, because it seems like we're going to continue to shoot ourselves in the foot when it's about mass and numbers, right? It's about mass and numbers, and we're getting ready to shoot ourselves in the foot. Always. We always do that. But without further ado, people, we have a young lady on the line, Elyscia, right? She has a new single called Nobody Else. She's a new up-and-coming R&B star, straight from out of Baltimore, Maryland, and it's none other than Elyscia. We're going to bring her up. Elyscia, can you hear us?
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? If you have if you're listening other than through the receiver up to your ear of your phone, turn everything else down, and then on the replay when we go on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and other podcasts, Google Play, all those different platforms. It'll be a clear signal, and you'll be able to hear yourself on whichever your favorite platform is, okay?
Cool.
Okay. All right. So first of all, let's give a little background about Elyscia before we get started, right? Like I said, she's a new and up-and-coming R&B star straight out of Baltimore, Maryland, right? She started singing in the church. She started singing in the church at 3 years old. She's a songwriter, a musician. She plays the piano, and she is a producer, following in her father's footsteps. And she is only, people, are you ready? She is only 16 years of age, right? since 3 years old in the church, wowing them in the aisles. Sing it,
Yes.
sing to the Lord, sing
Yes.
to the Lord. Okay. So how are you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling really good today. And thank you for letting me be on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When it's new and up and coming, and you
Yes.
have the single,
Yes.
nobody else, and,
Yes.
and it's well produced.
Yes, it is. It's
You
a
know.
very nice single. You have a beautiful voice. Really, really nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, and you're also a writer, so that is very important
Very
for that
important.
publishing.
Yes.
Later down the road when you get the checks in the mail, but that's business. Okay, so you started out, so you started out in the church at 3. So when do you remember? Do you remember 3 years old, or what is the actual age that you remember actually singing in the church, where you could actually realize the people's?
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I actually remember like really singing in the church when I was like 5 or maybe like 4 years old, because it was this one day and it was at Bible study. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, I just really want to sing. I was like, can I please take the mic? And you know what I mean? Because they wouldn't really let the kids sing and take the mic because, we play around too much. But I was very serious, and he let me sing in front of everybody, and I was singing I Love You, Jesus. And that was the first time I ever really sung in church. And then once I gotten older, I took it more seriously. Around, like, when I was 12 or 13, I started singing on the praise team. And I've just been singing in church ever since, and singing outside it. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've expanded, and you've been a background singer for a couple of heavyweights, Jennifer Hudson and Regina Bell. What was that experience like?
Oh, yeah.
What was that experience like going out on the road, singing behind such heavyweights?
It was a very amazing, like, crazy experience and a learning experience, just to see how that life works, and being around because I was around a couple of celebrities while singing for Jennifer, and it was just very, like, wow, very eye-opening, and it was just great. It was really great. Jennifer was nice. She was a beautiful person, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so what type of advice did Jennifer Hudson impart to you as a singer?
Well, she said, you always have to sing from the heart. Don't think about all the lyrics. Think about the meaning of the song is what she basically was telling. Like, me and the whole group, just sing from your heart and think about the meaning and what you're singing about. And I've been taking that advice for a long time now.
Mm-hmm. And so you write from the heart because you're a writer. So let's talk about your single, Nobody Else. Where did it germinate from, and how did it come to you? How did the melody come to you? Let's go through that process.
So my uncle, basically, he's a producer, and he works with my dad as well. So he came over and he was like, we gotta make a hit. I was like, okay, let's make a hit then. So he came over, he bought his track. He already had a track for Nobody Else.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, I need some lyrics, I need some words to it. So we sat there for like a couple of hours just trying to get the song down. And then, voila, Nobody Else.
Mm-hmm. And so, what does it feel like to be in the studio recording the recording process? Because we always speak to artists so that other up and coming artists or artists can feel what they feel in the studio. What is that process like? Was it daunting the first time that you went into the studio, and how does it compare to now being in the studio preparing this Nobody Else? Let's go through the process of beginning to now that you're in the studio.
Okay. So in the studio, it can be very stressful because, there's a lot of things. Like there may be some errors, and like sometimes you have to redo a part over and over again if you're not getting it right away. It can be stressful at times. Then other times it can be really refreshing. Like just getting like all the lyrics that you wrote down, all the voice notes, and then putting it on a record is just very refreshing. And I don't know, I really have a good time recording. I know sometimes it can be stressful to other artists, and sometimes it's stressful to me, but yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. But it does take a lot of work, and you know, sometimes your voice isn't there, sometimes it is. You know, that's just my process to it.
So are you one take Elyscia, or do you punch in?
I would have to say it really depends on the day, to be honest. Like some days I'm like, yo, let's just get this down real quick. And it's one take, and then it's like, that's all we need. But some days I'm like, okay, stop it right there, we're going to do it right there. Stop real quick, and then, you know, just punch in, you know what I mean. Just it all really depends on the day.
So who are your influences? Who influences you in the music industry that came before?
Well, I would have to say my main inspiration for me probably would be Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, I just feel like he's the greatest to ever do it. And like his work ethic, you know, his ideas, it's just everything for me. I don't know, I really just look up to Michael Jackson. He's just really the greatest to me. And I also look up to Beyonce, because same with her, like her work ethic, and just everything that she does it, you know, with the meaning behind it as well, and just the person that she is. I just, yeah, pretty much those two artists for sure.
So let me tell you first, we listened to the single and we listened to it over and over and over and over again, and tell your father and your uncle that this track, the way that it's recorded, is definitely right there, modern, on time.
Yes, nice.
The way that they laid out the orchestration on it, beautifully done. The way that your voice is laid in there, beautifully done. And the way that you're accenting and staccatoing throughout the song, especially on the hook in the first verse, where you're like, it's the way I describe it is you're like pounding on the vowels on the first verse, on the syllables on the vowels on the first verse. You're like you're like sending it home to them on that first verse. Then it goes into the hook, and then you say nobody else. I hope you feel the same. I mean, it's a really it's a beautiful single. So what are you looking for the single to do for you? Where are you looking for it to take you? You're welcome.
Well, what I'm looking forward to is for it to hit somewhere. You know what I mean? And maybe one day I'll be singing Nobody Else on BET Awards or Soul Train Awards, or maybe even MTV Awards, the Grammys. Just, I feel like I want it to be taken to like award shows, and just to that point being that big.
So you're a musician and you're a singer, so that's 2 out of the 3. Are you a triple threat? Are you a thespian also? Can you get on the stage? Can you get in front of the camera and act it out? I mean, are you a triple threat?
I guess you could say so, yeah. I have no problem with getting in front of the camera, getting in front of a crowd of people. I think I'm ready for it.
You're ready for it.
Yeah, because I can also see you on Broadway also. Your voice is beautiful. So I can definitely see you also so acting. You're welcome.
Yeah, you know, we here at the Film Review, we're here for the artist, for upcoming artists, for established artists, for actors, and we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society.
Yeah.
And we look forward to you being a mover and shaker within the culture. Right? So stay there, keep writing, keep banging it out, and we appreciate you calling in to talk to us.
Yes, we do.
Right?
No, thank you. I really appreciate it.
So last thing, tell them where they can get in contact with you or stay up on what you're doing, your social media, and tell them where they can purchase the single.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can follow me on Instagram at ELYSCIA_things. I'm going to say it one more time. That is ELYSCIA_things. And my song Nobody Else is on all platforms. It is on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Tidal. It is everywhere. You can find it anywhere and everywhere. And all you have to do is type in Nobody Else by ELYSCIA, Elyscia.
Elyscia. Okay, Elyscia. Excuse me, let me pronounce that right. Person's name is like platinum and gold to them. So we would like to thank you for calling in, and we see big things for you because that first single is hot. We can't wait for the full, complete album, or are they just doing singles today? But either way, we're looking forward to hearing more from you. Inspirational music, R&B, hip hop, the sky's the limit, pop, everything. You know what I mean? Beyond the sky, into the next galaxy, right? So we'd like to thank you. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we move on with the show?
Nope, that's it. But thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. And have a good evening.
You too.
Okay,
bye-bye.
All right, bye.
All right, people. So that was Elyscia. Right? And she has a single called Nobody Else. You can hear it everywhere. She just told you where you can hear it, right? And then when we recut this, I may cut in just a portion so that you can feel the vibe of the single.
It's a really nice song.
It's a really
nice song.
Great song. Right?
Her voice is beautiful. She has a strong voice. Definitely check it out. Pick it up, buy it. It's nice.
That's right. So people, as we move on, we need to, we have, as I change this up right here, we have a request from one of our viewers, right? Okay. So I'm going to put the actual request up so that you can see it here, right? And then right here, let me bring it up and bring it up right here. All right, people. So Robert asked us, commented, please review the movie I Got the Hookup To. Please review the movie I Got the Hookup To, right?
Okay.
So here we are. We reviewed the film and we aim to please. And if people have, films that they want reviewed, they can always post it on YouTube, right? In the comments. Make sure that you ring the bell. And subscribe to the TV shows and films by Crazy D channel on YouTube. Make sure you ring the bell and you state your comments and we'll read them back. And this one right here, please review the movie I Got the Hookup To. All right, people. So we aim to please. So of course, we do have the review for I Got the Hookup To. Now, first of all, we have to say that Master P has always been an inspiration to independent music makers. Master P has always been a inspiration to independent music makers and independent filmmakers.
Like Bout It,
because when Bout It came out, right?
Film.
We were in the store and we sold so many of that was the CD, DVD. I mean, no, it wasn't DVD. It was VHS. Then it was the CD VHS combo, and I mean everybody was on that film. I mean,
Yes.
all age groups were on that film,
Yeah.
right? And Master P was just, and still is, such an inspiration, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, talking about I Got the Hookup Too, right? The only way to compare it, the only way to compare the depth of how good it is to compare it to part one, right? Of I Got the Hookup, right?
Okay.
So the way we, evaluate films over here is we look at the film grammar, how the film opens up, how it lays out, how it tells the story through images. Because remember now, film was a silent. It had somebody playing piano. They had like a band in the band pit playing the music, the accompaniment, along with what you were seeing up on the screen, because film came silent at first, right? And they had little words describing what the person was saying, but for the most part, it was images and facial expression of the actors acting big on screen to put across the emotion, right? Because you weren't going to hear words. So that is what makes film different than the recorded medium, because the recorded medium was there, and you could record your voice and do all that, but film did not have that. So it was all about images, and that would be considered film grammar. Now, I Got the Hookup 1 opens with the wheels of a shopping cart, high heels of women, and you hear a conversation being had between two women, and you realize that they're pushing a shopping cart through images. So they don't say, they're not on the nose, I'm pushing this shopping cart. That would be for audio only. I'm pushing this shopping cart, and then you will hear a sound effect, the Foley or whatever, if you were just using audio, if it was just a radio presentation. But this is a film presentation, so it's image driven. Very important for people to know that film is about images first, right? So it opens with that, then it opens up wide to show what they're pushing in the shopping cart, expose you to the two actors playing the two women, and then it exposes larger to an impoverished area. It looks like LA because of the palm trees, and they're pushing the cart in the middle of this street, headed to a open air, I'll say pawn shop, not junkyard, but an open air pawn shop that services everything. Not check cashing, but credit repair. Selling items at a discount, right? And so that's great setup. It sets up the scene, and it shows you where you are in the within the story, where you are, where you're going to be, and where it's set. Then you're introduced to the two characters, Black and Blue, and you see that Blue is kind of off kilter, and Black is the calm one, and is the diplomat. Blue is kind of blue, just like the term, right? So then you find out what their business is, and then a plain white delivery truck pulls up, and of course it's a nervous guy in it, and he a nervous Caucasian, and he feels like he's going to be stolen on, literally, and so he delivers a package, and the movie takes off from there. Boom. Beautiful storytelling, opens up the story beautifully. I Got the Hookup Too. Unfortunately, is not like that, right? It opens to a discussion. Now, I Get the Hookup Too opens up first. It opens up
Okay.
and shows you where you're gonna be.
Right.
So they show drone images. They show
Right.
you that it's in California.
Right.
They show you the flag. They show you the
Right.
beach. They
Right.
show you the overhead. They show you
Right.
it comes in on the street,
Right.
and you see a woman from reality TV. One of the
Yes.
people from reality TV.
Yes.
She's walking with a baby stroller, right?
Right. April from Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. She's,
Love and Hip Hop Hollywood.
right. So she's walking with a baby stroller. It's not quite set like the first one,
Okay.
right? Like you see this overhead. It's more like it's exposed to you through a montage or a sequence of changing images to show you during California. Then you see her before then you get to the close up of the baby carriage, which it should have started kind of like I got the hook up to one, right?
Okay.
So then you're introduced to it's a scene that happens with Master P at the beginning,
Right.
and then you're also introduced to, at the same time, two characters that you don't know who they are, and it's like what sets one apart from two is two has a lot of comedy skits put together that don't really tell a narrative. See, what's important about a film is that it has to have a through line, right? And really the story is about, and you can't get away from it because it's just film grammar. It's just the way film was different than audio.
Right.
It's different than stage play.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You can't get away from using the steps necessary to tell a story in film. You just can't get away with you can't get away from it. It's just the way that it is, and you just can't. I mean, that's just the way it is. So there's a lot of, so you're introduced to two people. You don't actually know who they are. You don't find out until 15 minutes into the film that they are relatives of Black and Blue, right? Which we're not gonna give any spoilers because we always tell people to go see the film, but you don't see this. But this is how easy that this could have been told, right?
Right.
It could have been a flashback sequence. It could have opened up. It could have started, showed you everything, and then it could have been a narrator, an omniscient narrator that said, "You remember Black and Blue? Black has a son. Blue has a son. They have a crazy cousin in common." Boom, open scene. Then you know who DC Young Fly is playing. Right. Let's go through the cast real quick.
Let's see the cast. Starring Romeo and Master P. Miller. Symphonique Miller is also in the film. DC Young Fly, Fat Boy, SSE, KJ Smith, Juju Castaneda, Love and Hip Hop New York, Shireen Crutchfield, Anthony Johnson, who plays Blue, Michael Blackson, John Witherspoon is also in the film.
Rest in peace, rest in heaven, John Witherspoon.
Yes. Tangerine Martin is in the film. Cheryl Underwood, Clifton Powell, Sean Patrick Clifford, and Tom Lister Jr.
Lester, Tiny. Look, listen.
But wasn't it trying? He said that the one of the goals was also to break the world's record.
Well, he has. I was getting ready to get to that.
Appearances.
He has 128. The Guinness Book of World Records, 128 speaking roles in this film.
So maybe that's why it wasn't done like a traditional.
No. What I'm saying, you can't.
It was funny.
I mean, they have funny skits.
Yeah, funny skits.
But you're telling a story. Right. And so I'm always gonna revert back to tell the story. So, like I said, I opened that up. An omniscient narrator. Boom. You set up that story. You switch to who Romeo's character is. This is detective such and such. And he is such and such. Right. So then you introduce the three main stories that's going on. Right. And then you remember they had a credit repair within their place. Well, they stepped up. They now have a restaurant. And then the story could have rolled like that. It could have been like how the Dukes of Hazzard had a narrator, right? So some of the scenes didn't fit in Dukes of Hazzard, and you wouldn't understand what they were doing. But then they say, "Boy, them boys are gonna be in trouble. How they gonna get out of this? We'll be right back after these men talking that talking that country talk that they was talking, right?"
Yeah.
Now look,
She said country.
now, so on that aspect of it, the film is not stepping into film grammar. And like I said, there's no way around telling a story in film that way. Because we've seen ensemble casts.
Yeah, we have.
Right? And ensemble cast, it lays out and it has the through line. So once you knew that these three younger people were going to be the main story, and Black and Blue were kind of like in the back already established, then the story can go forward. Then you can see the police activity. Then you can see that. But first you have to set the story in stone. You have to give the hook to the story, the foundation of the story. Then the story can go forward, and then there will be no confusion. Because as I was watching it, I was like, who is this?
Yeah, we had to try to figure out who was who.
And then it came later in the film,
Yeah.
And then Master P's son, his son that was playing the college son, Romeo and him are not father and son in this picture, right? But the son,
they're with uncle and nephew.
Uncle and nephew, and then so you find all this out later, but that could have been opened up with the omniscient narrator, right? If you're gonna have 128 speaking roles, most of them were people coming in and interacting with the established characters, right? Within that business, right? The business had to be fleshed out from a person who owned retail establishment 15 years, and that's what the Chronicles, the Black Eyes Chronicles, was about. I established what the business is about. Again, right? See, that was all established in part one. That it was almost like a junkyard, but it was an open air flea market in the middle of an impoverished neighborhood in LA. That was told to you through images. Right? That's where the movie lacks. However, now, as far as Master P giving black people and pretty much everybody, because he has everybody, it's a multicultural cast. Him giving a multicultural cast an opportunity to shine. That goes beyond giving opportunity. That goes beyond the pale he always has. That's a 10. That gives the film a 10. The sound on it, 10. The picture on it, 10. The individual skits that are disjointed, right? Because the story isn't laid out in stone first. The foundation isn't there. The funniness of it is a 10, right? The going into the Guinness Book of World Records for 128 speaking role, 128 speaking roles in a film. That's a 10, right? He's expanding and he's breaking the record, right? Now, on the technical side of it, now the sound, all that, picture, lighting, all that, impeccable, great. Always has been for Master P films. Always has been. Even with Botted, I mean, it was just something that just charged you, right? The film grammar on it, that is not. It's not there, right? So I will not give a rating for that, right? Because it is just not there. So you can take that for what it is, because me, you know what I'm saying? I like Master P. You know what I mean? There were people who didn't. where we come from, people were like kind of trying to be New Yorkian, some. But for the most part, most people rocked outside the tri-state area the same. And when Master P came to town and when Master P's music hit, Cleveland was on it. So I'm not going to sit up here and bash this man's film because because he can do it, and all the people who bash him, you can't.
Right.
I mean, so that's the way that is, right? So that's not there, so I'm not going to rate that, right? So other than that, the ability for him to always be a person that's about the community, to try to get people from out of the condition that they're in and try to give them a chance and an opportunity, that's 10 across the board.
Right.
All right? So I got the hook up to, you see what it is. We broke it down. When you come in and you have so many characters, you have to have an omniscient narrator to tie the story from the past, even if you're not using flashback footage.
Right.
You know, you have to use that narrator. This is Black and Blue. Right. Black and Blue have such and such and such a. They have a crazy cousin.
Right.
In common.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The crazy cousin has a crazy. I mean, and so you lay it out there, and then what's going to happen next, and then that's how easy it is, and then the story goes on. Then you understand that it's not Black and Blue anymore, but it's DC Young Fly's character and the characters of the son and nephew, and they're all within this new gumbo because this is a gumbo, which is cool.
Yeah.
Right. So people. It's up on Amazon. It's up on other places, other platforms to watch. Yep. It's on UMC to watch.
Bob Johnson's channel. Yes.
So go watch the film and watch it and look for it. And then, you know, when you can make a film, because I make films, so I don't have to bash anybody's film. Right. So when you can make a film, right? Then, and you've made a film and everybody has respected your film, then you can have something to say. Yeah. But I'm not a person that deals in self-hate because I love myself. So thus I can love other people. And what this man has done, bringing all the different acts out that he brought out, there ain't no bashing of this dude.
And if you love, like, comedians and watching stand-ups and like, you will love I Got to Hook Up Too, because it's just multiple different personality characters, like you said, different skits that will have you cracking up. So if you want to just sit back and just chill and just laugh and just be introduced to so many different characters, you will love I Got to Hook Up Too, because you will not stop laughing from the beginning to end.
Don't watch it for it to be a film that's based on the traditional film grammar, right? Don't look at it like that. Look at it for what it is. It's a film that brings opportunity, and wouldn't you want that opportunity too? Of course you would. Yeah. So
because a lot of characters were introduced, including like social media, lots of social media personalities. I was introduced to, and I was like, this person is hilarious, and it makes you, look them up and then watch their stuff. So he did a great job introducing you to a whole new group of
comics. That's right, that are going to move on in the future. Now look, think about how they talked about Tyler Perry and his plays. Remember, he said that he would sneak into the theater and he would only get to see the first and second act because it would go into they were going to the rest period. I forget what they call it.
Yeah.
And then you would come back for the third act, but he had snuck in, so he couldn't sneak back into his seat. So he had to leave it where it was and not necessarily see the third act. But guess what? Has that lack of knowing how to do the third act, has that stopped Tyler Perry? No, Tyler Perry, people talked about Tyler Perry, but look, Tyler Perry has a studio that major films are being shot at, right?
Yep. Intermission, is that
that's
it?
Right. Intermission, that's what it was, right? So look, people, this is the 86. So that was our review on I Got the Hook Up Too.
Yes.
Right? So look, Episode 86. We are on episode 86.
Moving.
Right? And soon we're going to be on episode 90, our 90th episode. And we have we have an established filmmaker from Stockton, California that we're going to be interviewing. And we're going to be talking to him on the 90th episode. You can learn more about that on Crazy on Dion page where you're watching us right now. Also, we're simulcasting right now at the same time on YouTube on the TV shows and films by Crazy D channel on YouTube. You can go right there and you can watch us. You can search the film review episode 86 and we will come up and you can watch us there and you can comment in the comment and we will comment and do all that and comment back. So we are moving. Plus, again, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podcast Addict, and whatever platforms you want to listen to us on, you can listen to us on. You can watch us on YouTube, and So look, people, we had to go through that. That was a shameless plug of what we do because we make sure that people are seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated, and that's what we do, right? So that's why we always tell people as we take this intermission, right, here before we get to the next film, and we tell you to submit your films to the TFR Showcase. You get an interview. You get a review. No guarantee if it's positive or negative to you, but we will have a review, and the more reviews you have, the more they say that your film is circulated and they give you more chances. That's how that works. And when we post you on there, you take the flyer and you push it out, and that's how you also build that you have been on quality shows that show on Apple and right,
Spotify.
That's right. So that information is up here. You know what I mean? It's up there on my IG page, Crazy D Film Dude. Crazy D Film Dude. You can find out more about that on the Crazy D Film Dude. Make sure you follow the Crazy D Film Dude. Become a friend there. And also on Facebook, right? Now, as we go through, as you know, we always expose new artists, new actors in Lordland Theater. You know, Lordland Theater. You know that the first season is complete. We come back in 2020, but the first 13 episodes, 13 is a number of transition. The first 13 episodes are up on LordlandFilms.com. That's LordlandFilms.com /Lordland TV. You can watch all 13 episodes. You can also watch all of the episodes on LordlandFilms.com on Facebook. Go to LordlandFilms.com on Facebook. Click videos, and the whole section is there. You can watch all 13 episodes. You know, we keep it moving around here at the film review, Lordland Films, right? And then, like we told you before we get back into the movies, right? You can hear us on Apple Podcasts. You can hear us on iHeartRadio. You can hear us on Spotify, Google Play, Podcast Addict. You can hear us on Breaker. You can hear us on what you're listening to us and talking to us right now on Blog Talk Radio. You can hear us, you can see us on YouTube on the replay and live streaming right now. And you can hear us on SoundCloud. You can connect with me on Twitter at CrazyDDVD. And again on Instagram at Crazy D Film Dude. And you can check out the Crazy D Film Dude channel on IG. It's bananas and it's going to town, right? And it's got links so you can watch everything in full, right? So we go through that real quick so that you can know that. Now, people, the first discussion of the night, because like we said, we have we've been celebrating the strong black man archetype in what I call soul 70s cinema, but what was coined Blaxploitation, right? And don't forget that we are still talking about Knives Out
Yes.
and 21
Bridges.
Bridges, right? And we have the top 5 reasons why Trump looks like he's going to be reelected, unfortunately, right? Okay, people. So look, Fred Williamson is one of those actors, right, who brings the strong black male archetype to life, right? Yeah. And he has never been out of the business since he came in the business, coming from out of football in 1968. He has not been out the business, right? And why has he not been out the business? Because he is non-flinching on the desire and the necessity for the black male character not to die in films, which makes Fred Williamson or not be locked up or beat up by the Caucasian lead character and then just demolished and destroyed, and so they can get 30 more thousand views or whatever. He's not about that, right? So Fred Williamson came to prominence as a defensive back, playing for the Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Initially, when he was in college, he had went to college on a football scholarship, but when he got there, he said, who wants to get boogered up doing that? So he decided to run track. But then a guy came down to him and said, look, man, we know that you're running track and everything, but you're a big guy and you can come help us, right? So he came and he was at the Pittsburgh Steelers at first. And how he got the hammer was he was offense, but they switched him to defense, and he really didn't want to play the defensive back because, there was no glory in it. And as you can see, Fred Williamson is not a man that believes in being second fiddle to anyone, which is a strong black image for young black males to look up to, right? So he became the hammer because he started knocking him out with the hammer. And he said, quit hammering my boys, and that's how he became the hammer. That's how he got the name the hammer, right? Right? So he is the epitome of the strong black archetype on and off screen. Early career. He was on Ironside, The Outsider, Star Trek, the original series. Right? The Bold Ones, MASH, the original movie, right? Tell Me That You Love Me, Junie Moon. He plays the Beach Boy, right? So that would be a character would usually be for a white character, but he came there and he talks about that, and you can research more about that. Then from 1969 to 1971, he played Julia. He played Diane Carroll's character, Julia's boyfriend, from 1969 to 1971, right? Because he walks into the office at the studio and he tells the studio exec, he said, you basically have Julia, every episode she has a new boyfriend that is basically making her that's right. He said, but I am qualified to, he didn't say he was qualified. He said, I'm able to do this because I'm good looking. She's good looking. It's believable. And so then they put him in and he became her boyfriend from 1969 to 1971. Now the movies are his legacy, right? In 1972, he came out in a movie that we don't want to be dinged, so we're going to say The Legend of Nigger Charlie. Right? 1972. Then he came out with The Hammer. Then he came out with Black Caesar, which that's what we're going to be talking about today. Black Caesar and Hell Up in Harlem. But in between Black Caesar and Hell Up in Harlem, Soul of Nigger Charlie, 1973. A Man Called Boat, 73, Hell Up in Harlem, 73.
Okay.
In 20, now I'm skipping ahead because he has not been off the scene. He has been making movies from he's been in the business from 1968 all the way up to today, but I'm skipping some because it is a long biography or should I say filmography of him. But in 2017 he was on Being Mary Jane. He reunited with his love interest that was in it was in Hell Up in Harlem. That's right. Yeah. What's her name?
Let's see.
Yeah, you're gonna find it. And then Dusk Till Dawn, 1996. That is a film that really stands out to me. Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah, he was
right?
also. Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez, director and writer.
Yeah.
And he plays in that, and he plays a strong character to the end. And
Margaret Avery.
That's right, Margaret Avery, right?
Yes.
So she's also, you know her mostly from Color Purple.
Yes.
But she played the mom in
Being
Mary Jane, right? So look. Most people know Fred Williamson from two films, right?
Right.
You know, when you really stand out and when you really look at what's going on, he stands out in a couple of films.
Right.
One of the films we have up here on our board, which is Black Caesar, and then the follow-up that came up in 73, Hell Up in Harlem, right?
Yep.
So look, Tommy Gibbs is the character, right?
Yeah.
He was a person that was a black person that got ahead as a child by working for the mob. It's kind of like the way that they tell the story in Godfather of Harlem.
Okay.
How old boy was working with the mob to get ahead,
right?
And everything was Bumpy Johnson. Right. Everything was not necessarily for the positive for blacks, but for him, for he and his family,
right?
It was pretty good, right? So look. He comes up in the mob, he comes up working for the mob, doing things like setting people up. He was a shoe shine boy in the first. That's how he made his money, from being a shoe shine boy, right? So, what's funny about Black Caesar is he goes through all this, and you find the treachery of other black people who are envious and jealous of his success.
Yeah.
So then he's set up, and it appears in Black Caesar that he dies. But remember now, Fred Williamson is a person that doesn't believe in a strong black man archetype dying in a film.
Right.
He believes that the strong black male archetype is to kick butt, is to if there's a woman in the picture, he rides off into the sunset in his Eldorado with the woman in tow. You know, he rides off on his horse with the woman in tow off into the sunset. Right. He gets the girl, he gets the victory, and he gets the riches. Right. That is the strong black male archetype, right? Now, so he appears to kick the bucket, but in Hell Up in Harlem, he takes it and he twists the story and he changes it up, and his father comes and saves him.
Yeah, and he also becomes a great role model for his son.
Right.
In the film.
Right. And then there's double crossing again, people who would be considered coons that sell out just for a position when they were in a position and they were going to get theirs, but they sell out for a position to be with the Caucasians, right? All right. So Hell Up in Harlem, right? Now, there's another film that came out in 1975. This is Fred Williamson's first production where he directed and produced the film, and it's called Boss, Nigga. That's right, and that's his first film. And at the same time, he moved over to Italy,
Okay.
Rome,
Oh,
Italy.
yeah, he did.
And he started his own production company called Po Boy Productions. And he says that Po Boy means don't ask me for no money because there ain't none. You're going to do the film and you ain't. Right, so that's funny. So Rome, Italy, that was in the mid 70s, and he has not been out of the business. He has been in the business for 6 to 7 decades, from 1968 to the present. And you know what he says he attributes that to? He tells a story in one of his interviews about the show with William Shatner. Now, William Shatner is only about so tall,
Oh, really?
right?
They make him look tall.
William Shatner is only a short guy.
Oh,
and he says, look, it was kind of like how Bruce Lee said it was no way that Robin was going to beat Kato in a fight.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to figure this out because I'm not going to be defeated by Kato, by Robin from Batman and Robin when they first get introduced to the brown hornet, green hornet. And I'm Kato and I'm a kung fu expert. It's no way. There's no way. So they came to it would be a draw.
Okay.
Because he was like, there's no way. I'm fabulous.
Right.
You know, that's what he said. So the same thing with Fred Williamson. He's like, how am I? I'm doing stuff. They give me roles all the time. They want me to play second to a Caucasian star where they wanted him to come on the set of T.J. Hooker and be the pimp or whatever. It was a drug selling pimp, and T.J. Hooker slams him to the car and cuffs him up. Now, Fred Williamson is a big guy, right? William Shatner,
Right.
You know what I mean? So you know, even in Hell Up in Harlem, when they had the Japanese people there, you really saw what was going to really happen. But anyway, that's another story. You got to see the film. So look, he says that they wanted him to come in and say, he said, no, you don't seem to understand me. I don't lose. Now, if you want me to come in a role where I'm doing something, but I don't lose. I don't play second fiddle to basically a Caucasian. I don't play second fiddle to a Caucasian actor, so that's not gonna happen, right? So they were like, they got off the phone. And then he said the reason why his longevity is long, and other people like Jim Brown, etc., that came from out of football, that went into movies. The reason why his longevity is long and it's spanned from 6 to 7 decades now is because of the fact that they called him back. The producers called him back, and they were so happy to tell him that they had got Jim Brown. And so Jim Brown, big guy too, gets cuffed up by little William Shatner and taken away to jail playing the pimp drug dude, right? And he said the reason why people lose, he alludes to this, and this is what I'm saying, why people lose their popularity is they play or lose their popularity within the black community is they play roles just to do a role where they're going to lose, and black people don't want to see black people losing. Right? And so that's why his career has never stopped. He doesn't die in his films. He gets the girl at the end, and he rides off into the sunset.
You know, it's funny when you gave an example of what Bruce Lee said and what Fred Williamson said, because their point of views are similar. And I was looking up their birthdays.
Oh,
and
what?
They're both water signs.
Okay, what are they?
Because Bruce Lee, actually, his birthday is coming up, which is the 27th of November. But Bruce Lee is a Scorpio, and Fred Williamson is a Pisces. So they're both water signs. So it's funny. Yeah.
So that's interesting, right? So you see that? Do you see that, people? So that's what it is.
Yeah.
People have integrity, and they said, hey, look, man, there's no way that this guy would be able to beat me, and so it's no way, right? So people, we just started the watch party too, right? So you'll be notified when people we just started the watch party because we're on live on Facebook and YouTube, but we started the watch party so you can send comments in, and we'll comment back to you if you do so wish to do so. But if not, you'll see us hear us on the replay. Okay, people. So Black Caesar and Hell Up in Harlem and all of Fred Williamson's
Two great
films,
classics.
right? But we're talking about these two. So they're paired together.
Right.
Black Caesar has the full soundtrack produced by James Brown.
Right.
Hell Up in Harlem is R&B Star.
Okay.
Right? Soundtrack wise,
Okay.
James Brown, because James Brown's sound was not the standard 70s sound.
Right.
He was branching and coming into the funk. Right? And then R&B Star's sound is some of the songs don't quite stand the test because that it's just that 70s. James Brown was like paid the cost to be the so automatically those they stand the test, right? So those songs stand the
He
test.
was just with a bundle of soul.
Just a bundle of soul. Just soulful, right? That's a good. You just coined a new phrase. We don't want nobody taking that. A bundle of soul.
He is. James Brown is just soulful.
Right. Right. So look, people. What's going on to Patrice? I see that she's watching.
Hey, Patrice.
Right. We want to say what's going on to her, right?
Yep.
And let's see. So, people, that is another celebration of a strong black male archetype, and that's within Blaxploitation, right? And watch the previous episode to learn how the term Blaxploitation came about, right? And how it was unfairly given to something that should have been considered great cinema, right?
Yeah, all because of what? Politics.
All because of politics, and somehow Cicely Tyson was involved, and it's just really crazy. And it gets to, you say Cicely Tyson,
and it was the NAACP also?
yeah, NAACP, and it's just really something else to really look at and say, wow, this is crazy what happened. Okay, people, so moving right along, our first review of the night. No, you know what? I'm not going there first. I'm going to switch this around because we need to talk about this real quick. This is very important because this is being a very it's going to be very detrimental. And so we have to sit up and talk about this next. The top 5 reasons why, right here, people, the top 5 reasons why Trump is reelected, right? We have to go here next. The top 5 reasons why Trump is reelected. Let me get to my page, right? Top 5 reasons. You find it. Look. Trump has been in there, and anyone who's been following the news, you're like, what are you doing, Democrats? What are you doing? All right. The Democrats have underestimated Donald Trump. And I said when he first got in, he's going to be fighting, and he continues to fight for his name. And people who don't fight for their name, they don't know what that's about. Your name is platinum and gold, and you can work through things and rebuild your name, but if your name is totally just destroyed, then there's nothing right. So the top 5 reasons why Trump is most likely reelected. Number 5, poor decisions by the Dems. It's Hillary's fault. Have you seen 11/9? That was Michael Moore's film, where it talked about that the numbers were switched. In the delegate numbers were switched. Bernie actually had winning numbers, but they switched it because they thought that it was Hillary's time, and they switched it. And Bernie, I guess he's a good soldier. He went along with it, but he won't go along with it this time. Now, so it is Hillary's fault. No doubt about it. It's Hillary's fault. She thought that she could do it, but she was hardly campaigning, and he out-hustled her. She was She was hustling, and he had hustle.
Yeah.
And so it's HUSSLING. What she was doing, had hustle, HUSTLE.
Okay.
Right? So it's number 5, totally wrong.
Okay.
Bernie had the same message, just bringing it different.
Right.
He was there, and they didn't, and they don't want a so-called quote-unquote socialist, but Social Security is socialist. But anyway, number 5, poor decisions by the Dems is Hillary's fault. Number 4, the Dems don't have a message other than fear.
Okay.
How are you going to just have a message in fear, right? A message in fear, see, fight or flight comes from off of the same emotion called fear, right?
Right.
So either you stand in and fight for it, or you're going to retreat, right?
Right.
So when you know that fight or flight, when you're fighting and you're brave, they call you brave because you stand in and fight, but it comes off of a fear. Running and being a coward also comes from off of the emotion fear. So either you stand in or you retreat, and you're judged by either one of those, but it's all fear. So their message, the Dems don't have a message other than fear, which leads me to say, I just got to see. I got to see it play out. If you don't have any other message other than fear, and you can't give us anything else but fear, then you really don't want people's vote, because you got to come up with something else. Number 3, Trump appears to be smarter than the Dems and the media, who rely on bad jokes and the polls to determine Trump's popularity, right? Now, if I remember, they were ridiculing him ever since he had come down the escalator.
Right.
And they used polls last time saying that the polls are dropping on Trump is not going to win. And what happened? Trump won. Right? And people interfering with the elections. Now, they have never said that the Russians were able to switch votes. They've never said that.
Okay.
So that means that the Russians didn't switch votes, right?
Okay.
So that means, because they've never said that, because it would be major alarm, right? If that's what happened, they should have said it, but they didn't say it. So that meant that they said the bots influenced what the people are doing, and that's been debunked because it was saying the ADOS were bots, and then that's been debunked. And so people just didn't like her.
Right.
That's all. And that's what it was. And they voted him in because he had more charismatic charisma. Right. Right? Okay. He knew how to get into the mud, and people like to get into the mud sometimes. We just saw that on one of them housewife shows. Where they like to get in the mud. But anyway, okay, number 2. He's talking to black immigrants. Right? First and second generation black immigrants that have come to this country indirectly, talking to and speaking to black Americans, ADOS, and FBA. Right?
Now, what do those initials stand for?
Well, you know,
so ADOS is American Descendants of
Slavery,
and F Foundational Black Americans,
right? So he is bringing them to the White House, and indirectly speaking to black Americans about them building the country. The Dems have never said that. He is peeling votes. He talks to the Jewish community and said the Dems don't like you because such a. He's peeling votes. He talks to the Asians. He's peeling votes. He talks to the Latinos and the Latinas who don't necessarily like the people who are coming across the border, because he realizes that different groups of Hispanics are different than others, and they don't like each other. He's peeling votes, right? The Democrats are saying that everybody is all the same. It's one homogenized clump of spam,
Okay.
And last time I knew, everybody don't like spam. Number one. Number one. If the House Dems don't get him with impeachment and prosecution in the Senate, which means that they can impeach him in the House, but the Senate is controlled by Republicans, and if the Dems can't put enough pressure on the Republicans to push for them to prosecute him, he's still in there. He will win because he's given the Republicans what they want. They have always wanted the policies that he has put in place, and that's why I believe that the Senate under Mitch McConnell will not vote for impeachment. Because it's a two-step process, people. One, that's why Bill Clinton was impeached, but he was still president because they did not convict him in the Senate, and Trent Lott had to fall back, because when you make a move on a political figure in Washington politics, just the way politics go, then you have to fall back. So let's say, this is where I see it, if Nancy Pelosi, they made this move, if they move to impeach him in the House and some Democrats peel off and vote nay, she has to fall back, because it won't be successful. She may still have to fall back if they can't convince the Senate Republicans to convict him. So it's indictment and conviction. Impeachment is indictment. Conviction is conviction. Right. So those are the top 5 reasons why Donald Trump most likely, unfortunately, will be reelected.
Along with his supporters. And they're going to push him and put him back in.
They're going to put him back in because they're talking about the polls, but whenever the reporters go to the ground, the people say they've been trying to get him since he came down the escalator. They got the talking points in their head. Right? Okay, people. So that was the top reasons for that as we move right along.
And then speaking of ADOS, they were also part of the Comcast, anti-Comcast. Right?
That's right. They were out there marching.
Right.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. We kind of touched on it. Yeah. Now, there were some people out there, before we get on to Knives Out, there were some people out there that were protesting, talking about Comcast, keep stars on your line for power.
Right.
Now, so common sense tells me, just looking at it in the political framework, that numbers are numbers, right?
Right.
Ignorance is ignorance. Numbers are numbers, right? Who says that someone who was intricately involved in power didn't send those people out there to stand alongside ADOS to protest? The ADOS people started getting up there talking about, this is not about power. This is not about our show.
About numbers.
This is not about that. But so they were trying to tell them it's not about that, and they were looking dumbfounded because it's about the number of people who are standing with you.
Together.
That's one thing that
because
white
it's
folks,
what power in numbers.
Power in numbers.
Power in numbers.
That's right. It's one thing that the Caucasians know. Like the ones, if they're going to be split, they'll be against and against.
Right.
But if it's two sets of people coming for a different reason, but going against the same person,
for example,
the
Trump.
Enemy.
Right. Trump is anti MSNBC.
That's right.
But he came together with NBC and MSNBC. They're all ones, so he came together, who normally he would say that they are his, basically like his enemies. He's constantly going at it with MSNBC.
Right.
But he came together with them, with Comcast and MSNBC, to go against Byron Allen and the Civil Rights Bill. So they came together as one.
Because Comcast owns NBC.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So
that's what the Caucasians know.
They came together as one.
The enemy
of
my enemy is my friend.
Right. And that's exactly what they did.
But these people were sitting up here not following simple
Right.
code.
Right.
It's just simple code.
It's just thinking.
It's just thinking. So that was just
think.
because people get into, well, I don't like the show because it shows
has
this
nothing
and
to
it
do
shows
with
that. It doesn't have anything
You
to
got
do
numbers.
with it. Hella beans. It is numbers, people.
Right.
And to see that, I say,
And the commonality is they're coming together against who?
against conflict. That's
Bingo.
right. So it's not about who can sword fighting and doing all that.
Right.
It's not about that, right?
Right.
It's really ridiculous that they would have done that when the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
Now, you can all wait until later, to figure out your differences, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Knives Out. All right, people. So we touched base with that. Now, Knives Out. Let's go through the cast first real quick of Knives Out before we get into talking about the story, because we still have 21 bridges to talk about, people, and you have to stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Because that I'm telling you. Okay, so
Knives Out cast: Chris Evans, Catherine Langfield, Anna de Armas, Daniel Craig, Jaden Lieberher, Lakeith Stanfield, Tony Collette.
What's going on, Neo Soldier? What's going on?
Hello.
We're talking about Knives Out. You got to stay with us because we're talking about 21 Bridges. Afterwards, you got to stay tuned for that. Yes, you do.
Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, Don Johnson, Christopher Plummer, and Edie Patterson. They had a huge cast in Knives Out.
Now, so let's open with, you've seen the trailer, so what we're going to tell you, because we're not going to give you any spoilers, but we're going to set the film up, right? Because you have to, we'll tell you in a second. Okay, so Knives Out, we talked about film grammar, right? Okay. Very important. So film grammar, again, is images, telling a story. Because remember, film started out silent. There was no soundtrack, recorded vocal track to it. It was silent. So it was actors acting big and using images to tell a story. Where you are, opening skyline. Oh, that's that city. Woo, woo, woo. Right? So Knives Out opens with images to tell you who the person we're about to see is or was in his life. Yeah. Right? Because you know that this is a whodunit, so that there's no, we're not messing that up, because you know it's a whodunit. So it opens up showing you, and it is beautiful as it moves through the house, and it tells you, so you know that this world is taking place at this house, right? So it shows you, the images show you who he is. They show you the knives, of course. They show you the books that he's written. They show you the memorabilia that he's collected over the years. And it leads into the maid making coffee. And she walks up the steps and she opens the door. And there he is, dead. And that kicks off the movie. That is the initiating event that kicks everything off, right?
Beautifully done. The cinematography. Yeah.
Unlike any other whodunit you've ever seen. A major story beat. Yeah. What's going on to Jamaica Wisdom? I see you just chimed in. A major story beat is exposed early, right, in Knives Out to the audience, which changes what to expect out of this whodunit, right? Out of Knives Out, right? So there's so many twists in this picture that, you know, usually a whodunit opens up and it'll show you where it's gonna take place. Like if it takes place on the train, it shows the people getting on the train, and the train pulls off. Something happens. There's the dead body. Boom, you know it's gonna happen on the train, right? And then from there, the audience is blind to it, and blind to who did it, and then thus everyone, the audience and the characters, are trying to figure out who did it. Super sleuths trying to figure out who did it. This is not that type of whodunit movie.
It's not.
It is not. No. And that right there twist you up in the very beginning because they let the audience in on one of the characters.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then you're sitting there in the movie and it really becomes a mystery because you're like, yo,
yeah.
If we know this,
right,
then this is easy to figure out. But it's so many twists and turns in it.
There are
how it came about, how his death came about.
Right.
That you will be engrossed in this film, and it comes out next week because we're reviewing it early, and it comes out next week during Thanksgiving, right?
Yes, beautifully written.
Beautifully written, and you get to go see this film. I'm telling you, it is well worth. Because we here, we review, so that you can save your revenue, right? But this is something that you can take the 15 and up, I'll say, because kids younger might not be interested.
Right.
But 15 and up, it moves, man. From the very beginning, it opens up, and the first twist comes early when they let the audience in on something.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Jamaica said, "Hey, y'all."
Hey, Jamaica.
Carita is also watching it. They're having a conversation. What's up to all y'all? Thanks for you chiming in. Now let's continue with Knives Out.
Yes. Lakeith Stanfield, he kills it.
Yeah. Did you hear about the song that he has?
Oh my God.
Okay. Lakeith Stanfield had a statement last week where he was talking about different like Balad and other places, and he mentioned the Breakfast Club said they didn't have the best interest of black people at heart, that they just do what they do to make the buck, right? So Charlemagne came back with a blistering response, because Envy had sent him what he had said, so he came back with a blistering response where he was showing Lakeith acting kind of strange and licking his feet in front of white interviewers and stuff. So he really gave a blistering attack. He said, well, would you, every time something happens and you come out of a movie, you do something strange, this degrading in front of Caucasian people, would you please stop doing it, right? So Lakeith comes with a record, people, and he sponsored it on Instagram, and it's a face of Charlemagne smiling, but he's got the big red lips, and it's like a minstrel show. And the verse, and I listened to it, and I listened to it on my phone. Then I listened to it again through the speakers of the system, and I'm like, he's talking about. Well, you just listen to it, but I mean, it's like he comes back with this situation. It's just strange, right? Like when you come in love once. Okay, like when you come in love once. Okay, so people, I'm trying to read the conversation, and I didn't understand that. So we're gonna keep going. But look.
Okay. So he goes as Charlemagne.
But anyway.
But the film is great.
But his part in this picture is very pivotal because he is the lead detective.
Yes.
And then there's
Lieutenant is his title.
Right. And then there's an investigator that's hired, which is James Bond. Right? Which is what's his name?
Yeah.
Right.
Played by
him. Right. So
Daniel Craig.
That's right. So
they're great.
Film.
They're great together because we're not going to give it away, but Daniel Craig, this character is unlike
any super sleuth
that you've seen him play.
Yeah. Right, that's right. It's way different.
It's way different.
Way different.
So I mean, it's just like the acting is superb, the cinematography is beautiful.
Yes.
Just the everything, from the home, from the outside of the home, the city,
Right.
There's this chase that they go on. I mean, so we don't want to give anything away, but it was just like well done.
Well done.
And so it's just like the ensemble cast, right?
That's right.
The way everyone they play off of each other.
That's right.
I mean, it's just well written.
Well written.
It's great. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
They did an excellent job.
They did.
It was well worth the wait because they've been advertising this film for a while.
It had to be about 6 months.
It had to be.
I mean, we were saying, I said, I'd be glad when this came out. But we are reviewing it early so that you can go out next week and see this film. Now, people, another film as we continue on, which I don't know why I don't have the...
when you're given an opportunity to review something early...
Right.
Take advantage of it.
Take advantage of it, right?
And I'm glad that, we were extended the opportunity to view this before the film comes out on Thanksgiving.
That's right.
But it's a great film, and it's well worth the wait.
Right, well worth the wait. Okay, people, unfortunately, I do not have that in, so we're going to have to just go here to our main advertisement. But, people, 21 bridges.
Oh my God.
21 bridges, right? 21 Bridges is a film that people, you have to see.
I mean,
this movie.
You talking
we
about
are not going to wait. I'm telling you. Wait a minute. We went on, but we didn't go back and say what the rating was.
Oh, well, Knives
Out. Knives Out is a 10, people. Cinematography, acting, all that 10. So now, 21 Bridges, people. Let's go through the cast real quick.
Okay, of course, starring Chadwick Boseman, Taylor Kitsch, Sienna Miller, J.K. Simmons, Stephen James, Keith David, Jamie Newman, Gary Carr. It was nice to see Gary Carr because we didn't know he was going to be in the film from the movie
Bolden.
Right.
You have to go. You have to rent that film. It's up on Amazon. All that. You have to see Bolden.
Yeah. He's also in Deuces, right?
Yeah, The Deuce. The creator of jazz, Bolden. Right. But look.
And Morocco Omari. I mean, a huge cast, great cast.
So first of all, this is not a diverse cast. It is a multicultural cast.
Right.
We have to tell you that from the front. It is a multicultural cast led by none other than Mr. Boseman. Chadwick Boseman is the lead. Black Panther is the lead, but throw Black Panther to the side. We'll see him in 2022. Right. But this right here
is acting.
Is acting.
Yes.
It is acting.
Great acting because his character, I mean, it's totally unlike any of his other characters. Like his voice.
His voice.
Body movement, everything is just totally different.
He picked up that New York. He picked up that New York and he delivers it, right? His opposite is working alongside of him. She's actually from England, right? And I have to give credit where credit is due because though we have, as a people, I thought she's had an English Cockney, but whatever she is, she's not from America, and she's not from Brooklyn.
Right. Oh, you're right, Sienna Miller. You're right. She is British American.
I do.
You're right. But because she's really close to Nicole Kidman, I just assumed she was Australian.
Okay, what's going on? What's going on to Michael Elliott? I saw he joined in. Listen, so 21 Bridges, right?
Yes.
His opposite, like I said, she is from England, but you couldn't tell, and so that shows you the difference between people having gone through the rigors and having gone through the necessary training to have the chops to deliver, like in Black and Blue.
Yeah.
Old girl,
Naomi Harris.
She plays that part, and you don't notice she's not from New Orleans, right? New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you see the people, and you can see why. Even more why the performance on that movie about a great American hero, Harriet Tubman, that performance was lacking, and the woman was not ready for the role because she just didn't have those chops, right? It's about chops. Besides everything else, her calling Akata or agreeing with Akata, besides all that, the chops just weren't there.
Right, but in 21 Bridges.
But in 21 Bridges, everyone came with their A game.
Yeah.
And
Stephen James.
Listen, it is Stephen James, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna really break this film down. One of the best cop crime drama action flicks
ever
seen in a long time.
Yeah, this is a classic. This is up there with those New York films, with the Robert De Niro films, the Al Pacino,
the Dirty Harry,
the Scorsese films. Like, this film is going to be definitely played on Turner Movie Classics. Fast forward years later, years later.
What's going on to Aaron? I see he just chimed in.
Aaron, this film is definitely gonna be a classic.
It's gonna be a classic,
beautifully done.
But besies that, it has that fast action pace
from beginning,
like a Dirty Harry film, right?
It kicks off.
This is what you think of. We're gonna get to the plot for a minute, but we got to get through. We have Chadwick Boseman as the character that is mostly portrayed by a white lead.
Yes.
But here comes this man, and he's bringing a different dynamic.
Right.
This movie is very... Okay, we'll get to that into a minute. Okay, so let's talk about the plot, because this film, I'm going to say it right now. This film is very codified.
Yes.
It is a codified film, people. Yes. The interaction between the criminal and Chadwick Boseman's character is well placed. It is well done, but it is a codified film. So the film opens up. You've seen the trailer, so this is not a spoiler to you, because you do have to go out and see this film.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you, right?
You do.
It opens up and the car pulls up. It shows you the skyline. It shows you the city. It shows you where it's established at, right? Where it's going to be taking place, right? It's taking place in New York City, right? And so then it shows you that. Then it shows you an alleyway. It shows you a running car. Then it goes inside the car and it introduces you to the two, I guess you could call them pro and antagonists, because you feel for them as characters.
Yeah.
The way it's built, they're protagonists and antagonists to Chadwick Boseman, right, in the story, right? They're antagonists, but yet at the same time they're protagonists. So now you're introduced to them. They're talking. They're setting up. They put the mask on. They enter the place. They talk to the guy. They find out that this is something more than what they thought, and you saw that in the trailer. And then you know what happens, that the cops are dead, and then the movie kicks off from there. I mean, it starts with action, and I mean, they have high velocity firing automatic weapons going up against the police's 17 shooters, okay? Right?
There we go.
21 Bridges. Yeah, we're going to just put this right up there to the... Well, yeah, it's good. Yeah, we have to scoot it up. There we go. Right here. See this? 21 Bridges. That's what we're talking about right now. 21 Bridges, right? I'm glad that you pulled it out and thought about that.
We put it up yesterday.
Yeah, we put it up yesterday. That's right. To let people know that we were going to be reviewing it today. So look. The action in this, it kicks off right in the beginning. It kicks off. And it's no turning back after that. And you feel for those antagonists, protagonists, because there's no turning back, because they didn't expect cops, police to be at this restaurant after hours, right?
Right.
So from then on, it's one action-packed piece, and then you're introduced to Chadwick Boseman simultaneously.
Right.
It starts out with him first, and you're seeing them there. They're doing the situation.
Yeah, he plays Andre Davis.
And he plays Andre Davis, who is in front of a review board.
Right.
You know, because they're trying to ask him how he's had so many kills being a police officer, right? So this is kind of like a Dirty Harry thing, you know, the cop against the the ICS or whatever they call them people, whatever that is called, but it's a review board, and they're trying to see if they're going to take his badge.
Right.
But what he tells them is, it's never been something where I shot first.
Right.
And so they had to release him, right? Kick him, right?
Right.
So this happens, and then you're introduced to his home life. So you figure out who he is totally as a character, as a police officer, and as a man, as a son, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I want y'all to see the beginning, because I'm taking it out of order purposely, because there is an opening shot to this that has to do in a flashback that opens up the film, and we want you to go see it, because it is phenomenal the way they did it, right? And so I'm not going to tell you about that, right? But so you see him as a whole family man person, and then this happens, and then he arrives, and then it cuts to the chase, and he said, "Did we get the right guy? You saw that? We've got the right man, right?" And he goes out to find the people who who murdered the cops, right? And within finding out who murders the cops, he discovers something.
Yes.
And the movie twists in a whole nother direction, and it's two storylines converging at one. This conversion in converging into one.
Yeah.
And you will enjoy this film, no
you will.
doubt.
I mean, this is
21
just like
Bridges.
the best. I mean, this film is great. I can't even think of any.
I mean, Black and Blue was good.
Black and Blue was good. This
What I'm saying is,
Bridges,
the voices that are coming out and telling stories, right?
Right.
Where you have black leads in these films,
right?
You know, because we grew up liking cops and robbers, and we liked watching cowboys and Indians, right? We like that. So when you put our because again, everyone knows this, and for people who don't take offense for those who don't know this, but black culture is American culture, right? All of the music that is made came from black people, and in the music that is made that you will see promoted on the American Music Awards with having black people just to be there to make people watch, but they won't get awards. All of that is emulation of black culture. The way we walk, the way we talk, the way we dress, the way we relate, our movement, our rhythms, from the Negro spiritual, from the wailing on the plantations to the Negro spiritual, to the blues, to the gospel, to the soul, to the R&B, to the funk, to the jazz. Everything to the pop.
Can I just say, because we were watching interview, who was it, the Breakfast Club, and they had this social media, a reporter, right? She was from South Africa. I can't think of her name.
Okay, right. I know what you're talking about.
And then so
Charlamagne.
They were talking about culture, and then I think, what did she say? Something about, it came up about black Americans. And so I think there's confusion because, I think she said something about black people are they want to find out about themselves so they can have like culture. So when they go to like the continent, right? And they visit different countries, and, African people are longing to find out more about themselves so they can have a culture or something, she was saying. And then I was just thinking that I think people don't realize, even black Americans, some do, because I've heard some say it, but others, like, we have a culture, people. Black Americans, we have a culture, right?
We have a culture.
Which influences the entire, the world, the entire world.
That's right.
So, but see, the definition of culture, right? Customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, and other social group, right? So just what you described, right? So from the what you said, music to the food to the dances to the clothing to just how we were just like raised, and then we can talk about like the family gatherings and reunions and just the back and forth banner and
the
just
church,
the church, just everything, the clothing, the
way
just
we
the whole
the way
swag.
we get together. I mean, just in the church is different. The hymns are different. Right. The way we get together during the holidays is different.
Right. Our language.
Right.
The language of all of its own.
Shanice
so we
said,
have culture that influences and reflects over the entire world. But go ahead.
Shanice said Charlatan was a hit dog that barked. Shanice said, such a good movie. Everyone should go see it. Suspenseful, twist, and action-packed. That's right, Shanice. It is action-packed.
So
right?
Shani also chime in about the culture. So Black America, we have a culture of our own. We have a culture.
It's like here in Vegas, right? People say Vegas doesn't have a culture. I see the culture clearly,
right.
And one of the things is that the culture in Las Vegas is that they're not going to take people being disrespectful towards them. That's one thing about culture right there.
Right.
The way that people dress, the way that people talk, the way that they socialize with one another, the way that they get out there and rock.
Right.
It's just the rhythm of the city. I'm talking about the real city, not the strip.
Right.
Not the visitor place, but the real city, the real culture. Right. Which lies with the ADOS, the Foundational Black Americans, the Black people, right here in Las Vegas, where the main hub is where the culture is, and that's where all the immigrants, Black immigrants, come to hang also, to pick up the culture where they're accepted. Because outside of it, well, that's another story for another time.
But Black Americans, we have a culture.
We have a culture
that has influenced the entire world.
It
has changed the world.
It has changed the world, influenced the entire world. We could just take James Brown.
Right.
All over the world. They break to his breaks. They break dance to his breaks. They do graffiti to his breaks. They rap to his breaks. All over the world.
Inventors. I mean, come on. We wouldn't have air conditioning or refrigerators or
the tone arm apparatus. The
Black American
pen apparatus. The ironing board. The tone. I already said tone arm. So many different things.
I mean, it's dances,
foods.
Right. So
did you see the meme with the Caucasian woman that was battering the chicken with white flour? I might add. Everybody uses brown flour today, but white flour, and she sprinkled a little salt to season the chicken.
Oh, no.
So that's how you know whose culture is really moving this. Right. So this film also, 21 Bridges, is very codified. I need you to bring back the cast listing. Because Chadwick and the Stephen James, right?
Yeah.
They are very codified in this film. Stephan James, right? They are very codified in this film. This film is a very codified film. And for those who know what I'm talking about, codified means that he just we can't give it away. You just have to go see
so you have to go see it.
But they are
and that brings back, that made me think of culture, Black culture. We have a language and the thing of our own.
There was a communication between the two that you couldn't get if Chadwick Boseman's character had been a Caucasian playing that role. It would not have come across the same, and it was very codified, and he thought twice.
It's powerful.
And that's what I'll say. Right? So, cinematography.
Beautiful. It was amazing.
I'm telling you, there's an opening scene. The opening scene is a flashback. Right? Then it flashes forward to modern day. Well, modern day a few years back. But anyway, let's just say it flashes to modern day. But there's an opening scene
Right.
that is in flashback that is just incredible. The way that they set it up,
Right.
and that right there, that automatically makes it
I
a
haven't
10.
seen that in any film what they did with the camera.
Yeah. The use of the city as an element, as a
Right.
character in this piece.
Right.
Well, I could see how they wrote it out in the script, how they wrote out the alleyways and the rain and the beautifully done.
Yeah.
The interaction of introducing him to who would be his sidekick.
Right.
Be his person that was rolling with him throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
The introduction, and you've seen that in the preview, so that's
Right.
not a stretch. Where you
Right.
say, "I got to know you have my back," and all that dialogue, inner dialogue, and how he's figuring this out because it's a mystery happening within the middle of this action.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, this is like one of the best movies that I've seen in a while. But this is like one of the top. Could be the best New York film that I've seen. I mean, because it's just beautifully done, and it makes New York look really, 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 really nice. The cinematography,
really good,
really good.
Right?
Right. Just well done.
I mean, it's well done. The acting. Chadwick Boseman is a leading man.
He is.
And both of them on screen together.
Yeah.
Steven and Chadwick on screen together. They are equally delivering and working through those, using the facial expressions, and it's beautifully done. The body language, I mean, it's just beautifully done, and all the actors are on a certain level, except for one.
Yeah.
There's an FBI agent there. He just looked out of place.
Yeah, I don't even see him on.
Yeah, but he just looked out of place. He just looked like what you would call central casting.
Because he was out acted, I think, but he wasn't the main character.
He wasn't the main character.
He was just somebody
sitting
standing
there.
around.
He was just standing there. It was like it was a
So.
hookup or somebody. My brother wanted to be in a film, and they just sat him there. But it doesn't mean that he won't be good. But he just looked like central casting, and that just wasn't good.
Yeah, but Stefan James, he killed it. Excellent job.
Shanine said yes, and it's not predictable.
Oh,
and
she saw it. Good.
Yeah, she said those two delicious chocolate men. All right, Shanine.
And then we know Stefan James from If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yeah, that's right.
So he starred in that film, as well as Homecoming.
Yeah.
Right? So Shots Fired.
Yeah. So he's been making his round, but the acting was on. It wasn't like one person was out acting the other. Right. So and that really helped with the codifying of the film.
Yeah.
That it was just not one of those regular films. Like, do you feel Lucky Punk? No, that was a 10. Let's see what else. So we've been through cinematography, use of the city, the acting,
costume and design.
The costume and design, 10. Yeah. The use of the music.
Nice.
It was sparse, but it was there. The use of the city as the sounds of the city, beautifully done.
Yeah.
Foley
that was the soundtrack, actually.
Right.
The sounds of the city.
Sounds of the city and the music that was used sparsely. That's a 10.
Right.
All of its placing, of course, the large sounds of the gunfire.
Yeah.
And the action sequences, 10. The car situations, 10.
Yeah.
Everything in it. The intricate details of how you could tell that these people were. I can't say that. I don't want to take it away from you, right? We don't want to take it away. You have to see this film.
This film is so good. I wasn't even pissed when I dropped my phone and cracked my screen in the theater. Usually I would be pissed. But like after seeing this film, I was like, whatever, I'll get it repaired.
Shanine said 10s across the board. That's
yeah,
right,
she's right. Like 10s across the board. Like you really, really, really.
So bring me the cover up one more time so I can put it up there so I can get a review. This would be like when we first started. We used to have to put the cover up there for people to see. Bring the cover up back. Just go to your home.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, there we go. We're gonna put it back up here. So people, 21 Bridges.
Yes.
Chadwick Boseman, leading man.
Yep.
that is 21 bridges, 10, 10, 10, 10 across the board. Make sure that you see this film. Make sure that you see this film.
He was like kicking ass in that film.
He
he was just, he's like the best detective I've ever seen on film.
The ending, the conclusion.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, can't give that away.
We can't give it away.
The conclusion.
That's right.
And see, that's one of the reasons why I really, really love him as an actor. Mm-hmm. Because if you go see a Chadwick Boseman film, you won't be disappointed.
You won't be disappointed.
Right? Because every film that we've seen him in, he's done a great job. Mm-hmm. You know, so he really takes his time in selecting his scripts.
He does.
So, because everything he is believable.
Everything he does, yep.
So... he's a great actor, and his voice is different in his film. His whole demeanor, he just physically. He changes.
You can see that. You can see that training there.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. He's
totally
actor.
Believable.
Extremely believable.
He's not typecast as Panther.
No, he's not.
That's right.
You don't even see him as.
You don't even see him as Panther. You see him as this character,
Detective
right?
Andre.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a 10, people.
Yeah.
The 21 Bridges is a 10.
Yeah.
Can you believe that this time has moved this fast? Gosh. Right? We like to thank Elyscia.
Yes.
For
Elyscia.
Elyscia,
yes.
Right? For calling in. She's a new up-and-coming R&B artist. Make sure that you get her single, Nobody Else, available on all platforms, right? Make sure you go back and watch this. If you missed any of it, this has been a robust show. Also, we want to shout out to and say thanks to Fred Williamson for bringing a strong black man archetype on screen. And if it wasn't for him, then we probably wouldn't see Chadwick Boseman in this film.
Who was also a producer.
Right. And he is a strong black man archetype on screen.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So we move from sticking it to the man to being the man and making sure that true justice comes true. Isn't that something as we move along? And then we also want to say, don't forget about Knives Out. It comes out next week. Yep. We reviewed it early. We had the opportunity to see it early. We reviewed it. Make sure you go out to your Cinematheque and see this film and make sure that you go see 21 Bridges. Make it because I think kids get out on Thanksgiving or whatever. You can't take them to see this film. No, you can't. 21 Bridges. You can't take them to see this film. But you can have a date night, 2 nights in a row, and see both of these films. See 21 Bridges and Knives Out. Both of them are good. We want to thank our viewer who asked us to review.
I got
the hook up too.
Yes.
And we brought it and we told you what it was really like.
Right.
And what else? Is there anything else before we close? Like I already said, Lordland Theater. Oh yeah. I will say this, and we will close with this right here. Don't forget, people. In about an hour's time, you will be able to see. You will be able to hear. The replay of the film review on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, Podcast Addict, Breaker. Of course, you can hear it right now on Blog Talk right now. You can see us on YouTube right now because we are simulcasting on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. That's what simulcasting is. And then you can hear us on SoundCloud, and you can follow and friend the Crazy D DVD on Twitter, and the Crazy D Film Dude on Instagram. And then what's your Instagram? Movie for Life Girl.
Movie Girl for Life.
Is that what it is? Check it out. And say it real quick so we can close out. Let's see what Shanine said before we close out here. Shanine is our road dog, right? And those two delicious black men turn across on deep ending love Fred Williamson, love and the Black Hand. That's right, the Black Hand.
Yep. Movie for Life.
Girl. Make sure that you follow Movie for Life Girl on Instagram also, people. So, people.
But first of all, let's just say that it has been great to be able to see two films that were excellent films back to back. I mean, you know,
we've been seeing good films.
But I'm talking about like the Knives Out and to see in the 21 Bridges. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes if we review two films, maybe one will be really good and one will be like, you know.
Right.
And but those two films, they came in strong. But that 21 Bridges, I mean, really, you want to go to the theater to definitely see it. You don't want to wait for it to be on
right. You have to see it in its
video
you have to hear it in its full capacity with the automatic weapons blazing and he's a producer on the film. No wonder it is codified.
Yeah.
The way it is. He's putting code in, people. So,
I mean, excellent film. You really, really, really need to go out and see it. Because for all the people that like the gangster films and the Godfathers and the Scarfaces and all of that, I'm telling you, this is in the Dirty Harrys. This is a classic. This film is going to be a classic. It's well written. He's like kicking ass. I mean, he's real physical in this film. Don't you think? He's doing like a lot of running and jumping and jumping over cars and falling over. I mean, he's just really, really physical in this film, and his acting is superb and just excellent. I would not miss seeing this film. This holiday season. Miss seeing it.
That's right, holiday season. Yeah. I would say go see 21 Bridges first. Yeah. Then see Knives Out. That's why you go see 21 Bridges like on Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on Thursday go see Knives Out. So go see 21 Bridges Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then go see Knives Out on Thursday, and then go see 21 Bridges on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Just fit it into your schedule.
Just put it there. Make it priority in your schedule. Don't just fit it in. Okay, people. So this has been a robust episode.
Yes.
86 of the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. Yeah. We are the husband and wife team. I'm the voice of the filmmaker. My wife is the voice of the critic. And you have been watching and listening to, ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching and listening to none other than the Film Review. The Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on Facebook at Crazon Dion.
Hey everybody, this is Lunell, the original bad girl of comedy. I'm here at the Link Promenade in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and you're watching the Film Review.